Ever fall into the same rhythm with food? The same 5 meals, the same cafe order, the same comfort zone? We all do it. We all fall into little loops, the familiar, the easy, the known. Sometimes we don't even notice it until dinner starts feeling like déjà vu. But what if AI could help you rediscover flavor? Not through data or rules, but through delight. Here's the quiet secret. AI isn't just good at pattern matching. It's wonderful at surprising you when you let it play. Most people use AI for productivity. We'll use it for possibility. In tonight's episode, I'll show you how to train your AI to be your flavor pairing muse. Hey, I'm Frankie, and welcome back to Promptwell's AI Joy Cozy Lab. We run small experiments in joy, powered by AI. In the Cozy Lab, learning happens one quiet moment at a time. Before we start, let's take a slow breath in and out. We'll relax our jaws, drop our shoulders, and settle in. Let's begin. For tonight's experiment, I'll be using a fresh chat with no memory, so it's exactly what you'd see if you opened ChatGPT for the first time. Let's start with our first prompt of the night. Suggest a new food for me to try. Limit the answer to 2 paragraphs. Try Ethiopian injera with a mixed platter of Watts stews. Our first suggestion from AI tonight says, try an Ethan. Our first suggestion from AI tonight is, our first suggestion from AI tonight is, try an Ethiopian injera platter with a mix of Watts stews. Injera is a slightly sour, spongy flatbread made from teff that doubles as your plate and utensil. You tear off pieces and scoop up richly spiced stews like Doro Wat, Berberi spiced chicken with egg, Misera Wat, spicy red lentils, and Gomen, braised greens. It hits that comfort food zone, but with a completely different flavor architecture from the usual Asian or Western rotation. If you enjoy eat with your hands foods and shared plates, this will probably be fun both sensory and social. When you order, ask for mixed vegetarian and meat combo. That way you taste the spectrum of textures and spices in one go, instead of gambling on a single dish. Something that I've noticed that's really interesting as I ran this prompt after the update, it actually really expanded the cuisine that it chose from and actually give an explanation and instructions so that you feel more comfortable going to an Ethiopian restaurant. I appreciate that. However, this is something it suggests go trying in a restaurant. Let's see if there's something a little bit more personal we can tease out of AI. Our second prompt of the night says, suggest an inventive new food for me to try. My favorite ingredient is chocolate, and the vibe I want is simple and luxurious. Considering simple yet luxurious chocolate dishes, this is a very interesting feature of this new model. Okay, try making... Oh, OpenAI. You're having problems with your temporary chat again. Calamansi. I'm Filipino. You know that I love calamansi. I record these in batches. In the other video, you will notice that our temporary chat with no memory also knew my name. Anyway, back to our scheduled programming. Scripted, I should say. Try making calamansi dark chocolate silk cups for a small, quiet kind of luxury. Imagine a velvety dark chocolate pudding, just barely sweet, sharpened with a whisper of calamansi so it tastes bright, not heavy. You pour it into espresso cups or tiny glasses. Let it set, then finish with a thin gloss of good olive oil and a pinch of flaky sea salt. You pour it into espresso cups or tiny glasses. Let it set, then finish with a thin gloss of good olive oil and a pinch of flaky sea salt on top. Plus the lightest snow of toasted coconut for aroma. It feels like a dessert you would eat slowly in a quiet corner of a boutique hotel. Yeah, boutique hotel in Manila. And I'm very distracted. This is not how a temporary chat should behave. To make it, melt dark chocolate into warm cream or coconut cream. Stir in a little sugar with a pinch of salt and enough calamansi juice to taste the citrus without letting it curdle. Whisk until glossy, pour into cups, and chill until softly set. Before serving, let them sit at room temp for 5 to 10 minutes. Then, add a few drops of your best olive oil, a flaky salt, and toasted coconut on top. Minimal effort, maximum I own this moment energy. Sorry for the sidebars there and irritation. What you see here is that it created something, well, very much for me. I do really like dark chocolate. I have looked up dark chocolate recipes here in my AI. So this suggestion ended up being a lot more targeted towards me than I wanted it to be. It still is a really thoughtful and customized recommendation. Our third and final prompt for the night is, you're a chef in a spaceport cantina at the edge of a distant colony. Your diners are homesick Earth travelers, craving comfort that still feels a little alien. My favorite ingredient is chocolate. Suggest a dish that tastes nostalgic but inventive and uses Earth ingredients. Let's see what this new model makes of this out of this world prompt. It says, I'd serve a gravity glazed galaxy bread pudding. Picture classic cinnamon raisin bread pudding, like something your grandma might sneak you in the kitchen, but stitched for the stars. Brioche cubes soaked in a custard of eggs, cream, dark cocoa, espresso, vanilla, and a hint of orange zest, then baked until the top is just crisp and the middle stays soft and wobbly. While it's hot, I pour over a warm starlight ganache made from bittersweet chocolate, honey, and a touch of smoked sea salt so it seeps into the cracks like dark matter finding every corner. To keep it alien, but still comforting, the pudding sits in a shallow pool of chilled cardamom milk. Ooh. Sorry, I actually like cardamom flavored ice cream a lot. The pudding sits in a shallow pool of chilled cardamom milk orbit sauce, made from lightly sweetened milk infused with cardamom pods and a whisper of rose water. On top, I scattered cocoa-dusted candied walnuts for crunch and spoon a quick frozen cream quenelle whipped with a little yogurt for tang so it feels like ice cream that grew up in low gravity. Every bite is recognizable. Chocolate, warm bread, spice, cream. But the floral, smoky, and bitter notes tilted just enough that homesick travelers feel like they're tasting Earth from a few light years away. The first response from AI often gives you what's popular, a dish that's well loved, maybe even something that once trended. It's the internet's collective palate served politely back to you. When you tell it how you want it to feel, not just what you want to eat, something shifts. It stops echoing what's already known and starts imagining with you. That's when it moves from recipe to resonance, from database to dialogue. And suddenly, what it gives back doesn't feel generated. It feels shared. Want to turn your next meal into a quiet adventure? Here's the cheat code. 1. Start with one ingredient you love. Something you reach for without thinking. Honey, butter, lime, chocolate. 2. Add a feeling. Maybe hopeful, nostalgic, or the kind of tired that wants a warmth. 3. Give AI a role to play. Invite it in, softly, as a retired chef, a curious neighbor, or a traveler cooking from memory. And if it offers something you've never seen before, ask how to make it or what you could swap in with what you have. That's how AI stops giving answers and starts cooking with you. Here's the quiet part out loud. AI can't taste, but it can imagine. When you teach it to imagine with you, you learn to see flavor as emotion, and emotion as another ingredient. Maybe that's what flavor creativity really is. A conversation between what we crave and what we're brave enough to try. Thanks for spending this quiet moment in the cozy lab. Check back next week for another gentle experiment and joy. See you next time. Same vibe, new spark. Bye.